I often see in people that get called lucky. Like I happen to be one of those people that's like, oh, Justin, whatever the heck you just stumble into, it just kind of works or whatever. That's
Mm.
not true. They don't see all of the rest of it, right? But like a common trait is people that are just curious. They're not lucky. They're just turning over rocks that other people just didn't think to turn over, right? You just have this open mind to go, maybe I don't know it all. And like I see that in your day-to-day life, and the way that you present things and the way that you coach people. It's really interesting, honestly.
Mm.
And it's funny the like whole like crucible that you have to go through to figure out how to become even just like competent at something. Who was it? Jokic, the dude on the Denver Nuggets, the Serbian basketball player, is just a legend. He was
Yeah.
sitting down at an interview afterwards, after like they won the championship, and they're like, "So, like, what do you think it takes to be successful?" And in his like broken language, he goes, "Well, first you're gonna suck, and then you could get better, and then you become better, and then you're gonna fall down and you're gonna suck again, and if you actually make it back from that and become better, then you have a chance of actually being successful." And I remember
Wow.
hearing him say that, and I was like, I get English is not his first language, but because it was put in such simple terms, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. First, you're going to suck, then you're going to get it good, and you're going to think you're
Like
awesome. Something's going to knock you down, and if you figure out how to get back from that, then you have a shot of being successful, you know?
Yeah. So many people give up, right? And that downfall, right? To have the resilience to continue on at that point. Uh, it really does build good character. And I think you hear a lot of, obviously, your story, Tristan, there's not a lot like that by any means. You came through the fire for sure. But as a business owner, I think and as a real estate agent, like resilience is one of the key factors in
mm.
being successful in this business and many businesses. So thank you for sharing that story, man. That's huge.
What was the biggest thing like on the backside of that when you said like it was your like biggest blessing in your life that that
I
happened
think
kind of thing?
well because I think what I realized way after was if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have been able to show up uh, the person I needed to be in order to get to where I am now. It
Mhm.
would have taken so much longer, right? And so when people ask me, it's like, oh, I don't know, should I do that? I'm like, go do it, fall flat on your face, like hard, because you're gonna get back up. And when you get back up, you're like, that didn't feel good. But what did I learn? And what can I do better? And that in that little process, nobody can take that away from you because that's who you become. And that's super powerful, man. That piece.
This episode is sponsored by Follow Up Boss. And I know you, Justin, and Lindsay both know that I made the switch about a year ago to Follow Up Boss from being in one CRM for the last like 13 years.
I read a stat the other day that 32 of the top 50 teams in the United States use Follow Boss already. So, I mean, I guess the proof's in the pudding there.
So whether you have a super team like George or a mini team like me, Follow Up Boss makes it super easy for teams of all sizes to get organized, stay on top of their leads and spheres with less effort, and improve overall performance so you can scale your business.
And thanks to FUB, all of our listeners can double their free trial and get a full 30 days to see how Follow Up Boss can level up your business. And there's no contract necessary, no credit cards required, completely free to give it a go. So visit followupboss.com/inspection period for more details. And thanks Follow Up Boss for making this possible. If somebody's listening and they're in the middle of that cycle, they feel like they're in the middle of the shit right now, right? Like what, I guess, encouragement or advice would you give them to be able to keep going? Like what would be the thing that you would give them?
Yeah, take small steps. So I've been in the middle of it a few times in different things. In that specific one, I just knew that I needed to show up again, and I needed to show up a certain way. So you're going to be when you're in the middle of it, you're going to be reminded of who you really are. Like, wait a second, I'm not. That's not me, right? This is not defining me.
Mhm.
I am this. I am this, and I'm going to show up like that tomorrow. I'm going to show up today like it. And sometimes we look at this and we're like, man, this is never going to end. But all I'm asking you to do is just to show up today, the rest of the day that way, because you're training yourself how to show up. Because if you do the opposite, which is you're just going to cave in and be like, oh, it's not going to work, and then do something else. That's how you just trained yourself to show up tomorrow.
I would say the points you've made, there's been a lot of self-reflection in them. Your marriage early on, realizing that you had to show up differently, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it took me a decade. You did it in 6 years. It took me about a decade to get there, to realize like,
you got there, bro.
It's probably me. It's probably me. I got to work on some stuff here, and show up better for the relationship. Business, the same thing, man. Like, it takes that step back and observing, and having the ability to do that and go like, oh shoot, maybe we're not hitting that next level because I'm not showing up right. I'm not showing up well. I'm not doing the things that need to be done to take this to where I want it to go. Like, am I really committed to it? And so, yeah, man, like, you've been on that journey, it looks like, in many parts of your life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think once we reflect on in any part of our life, whether it's business, personal, or whatever, when we reflect on it and realize that it's up to us, I think that's where we start growing in a better direction. And that's tough, man, because I don't want it to be my fault, but it is. It's my fault.
Well, it's what you can control, right? Like, who can you control? Yourself. Like, well, a lot of things in business are out of our control, but what I can do is make sure that I show up right.
And as a reminder, Inspection Period listeners get a full 30-day trial of Bub. No contract, no credit card required. Just go to followitboss.com/inspection period for more details.